Okay, so I have something a little bit different tonight. Pretty excited about it though. A couple months ago, a neighborhood friend of mine told me his son was developing an affinity for drums. So I was like, that's really awesome. And I had a snare lying around that I was like, yeah, take this snare and see if little dude would love to try it out. And that little dude's name is George, and this is for George. This whole what we're about to get into. But the thing is that the snare didn't have a snare, first of all, and second of all, the throw off or strainer was completely busted. So still gave lent George, the drum is not yours, but lent the drum to George, and he's been playing on it. But I decided to order a new throw off and a strainer, and replace it, fix it. I've done the snare before, but I've never really replaced the throw off or strainer, as they some people call it a throw off strainer. If you find it on, we'll get to that later. Anyway, so tonight I'm going to replace the the throw off, hopefully, and the snare as well. So the story behind the snare, I'm going to try and keep this short because it's kind of like a how to fix it video that I've never done before. So it should be fun either way you look at it. But the story behind the snare is that my buddy Ryan Whitaker, he's a fantastic drummer. He's in a band called the Saps. Check him out if you can. He's also a fantastic, I want to say, professional angler. Like he goes out and does bass fishing tournaments. Used to be really close with the dude in a sense of proximity. He stored his fishing boat in the garage where I was staying at the time. I helped him I didn't help do anything actually. I just held lights and stuff, but he was like replacing batteries in the boat and all this stuff. And then he actually makes his own lures, and I could go on, but I'm not going to. But Ryan Whitaker, Tightrope Fishing, the Saps. So Tightrope Fishing is the place where you can get those custom made lures. I want to talk about more because like he would sit in this garage, right? And he'd be what I would like molting, not molting because molting is like shedding skin, but like molten lead. Like he'd have a lead cast where he would make the weights for the lures, and then it was just really cool time to hang out with Ryan Whitaker. But he was, like I said, he was also a drummer in a band called the Saps, and we were again hanging out together, and he had this Supraphonic drum, Ludwig Supraphonic snare drum. He's like, "You want it?" And he's like, "It sounds great." He's like, "It just needs some work and all that stuff, and you'll see it here in a second." So I said, yeah, "Yes, of course, I'm going to take a drum." So it's been sitting here for a while, and that's how it came into my hands. And we're going to try and change out this throw off snare on this 66 Ludwig Supraphonic snare drum. Yes, 1966. I'll get into that here in a second too, of how I found that out. But before I do, also want to say a shout out to Drugan's Drums out in Des Plaines. If you need anything vintage or new, Johnny and Brian up there, they do great work, and they're good friends. But I reached out to Brian. I'm like, "Hey, look at this, the chrome flaking off." And again, patience. You'll see the drum in a second. Here's a quick preview. There it is. Okay, cool. But I was like, do should I do anything with this? He's like, no, man. He's like, that's kind of like Ed's character. He's drums made back then weren't, the chrome, it didn't really adhere really well to the shell, but it doesn't affect the sound or anything like that. But was really cool to have a conversation with Brian Drugan over at Drugan's Drums. So check them out if you can. So now getting more into what we're doing tonight. So this Supraphonic drum, I found out by way of the serial number. This is a close-up shot of the logo, or the badge. Sorry, brain fart for a second. The badge that's on the drum itself, and that's how you can track drums and when they were made, even perhaps where they were made, those types of things. But this is a bit zoomed in, so like 311975. If I zoom out, you can kind of see that's where it's at. But if you go to ludwigdrums.com, there's a serial guide, which you can find out if it's not rubbed out or anything. You can find out what year that drum was made, and up until around mid 1969, or right at the turn of the century, decade of 1970, they started using these blue and olive badges. I do have like an early 70s Ludwig Marina Pearl kit that I got from a great friend years ago that has this badge, but this one has this keystone badge. That's the specific name, keystone badge. So you can see that it looks very similar to what we're looking at over here. And since the number is 311976, no 311 jugs please, but you see 311 is right within this range in 1966. So I have this 1966 Ludwig Supraphonic drum that I would love to replace the strainer, throw off, and snare. So with that, I have pretty much at least I hope, all the tools I need to get this done properly. I have this is going to be fun. We'll see what this is. There are nuts inside here. I have no idea if this is going to fit the size, but that's why I have my handy dandy pliers to actually tighten this all down once it's all said and done. The parts I'm using are going to be the Pure Sound Custom Series snare wire, 20 strand 14-inch. Now I love Pure Sound snare wires. Used them for years. I'm sure everybody has their preferences, but these are just solid. They the wires don't snap off easily. I don't really think I've had one that the wires have actually snapped off, but these are good. Pretty nice. For relatively, it's a bit more pricey than you can get. You probably get one for like $8 or something like that. But again, you invest in that, around $20, decent snare wire. And then the strainer that I'm using, or throw off I'm using, is a P85. Pretty standard, really. I thought about going with something different, but I wanted to stick true to the form of the drum and how it was created itself. And it's just a straight up classic kind of throw off. So that's what we're working with today. And hopefully get stuff done. As an added bonus, hopefully, for some... I have no idea what's going to happen. I really have no idea what's going to happen here. So I'm going to have some background music if I need to walk away to grab another tool or something like that. I've decided I just created a playlist of bands that I'm in as on a shuffle. So those two bands are Sequoia and Mayor for Life. The two records from Sequoia that I'm putting on here, I should say full length and EP. The full length is called Shots, and the EP is called Fifth, because it's our fifth release. And the Mayor for Life album is our full length, called This Could Have Been Avoided. So I'm going to start that right now, and then just kind of start going into this and digging in, and hopefully narrate. So if I were doing this properly, I would have had new heads to replace as I'm doing this as well. But I don't. So what I'm gonna do first is take off this head because I have to get to this part inside the drum. You can see that where it snapped off was this little L bracket where this should sit normally. And there's that nut inside that I mentioned before. I have to then remove that. So that's my first goal. Remove that. While I'm in there, see if I can clean up anything or if I notice anything else that might be wrong. So I'm going to take my handy dandy drum key, right? There it is. And start going to work. It was funny, like this is such a crucial element to drummers, this drummer key thing. You know, I see people with it on their key rings. There's actually a key ring hole that you can put on your key ring. Whoever made this, I don't even know who made this, but was smart enough to put a key ring hole in there. If you don't have a key ring or think that's annoying, just buy a few and just litter them up throughout your house. But always know where they're at. It's pretty big. So I'm doing the old double spin. Get these lugs. George, these are called lugs, if you didn't know that. They help keep tension on the drum head itself, which is crucial, obviously, when you're playing. This particular drum has 8 lugs. Am I counting that right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Nope, 10. Sorry. So, my mistake. Like I said, this is live. We're doing it live. But there are drums that have different sets of lugs, or amounts of lugs, depending on the tension. Don't know those offhand, but you'll notice when looking at drums, they'll give a definition of how many lugs there actually are on any specific drum. Okay, and first speed bump, just realize that this particular lug is either missing or I just missed it somehow. But I might have a spare here somewhere. Doesn't really, you know, it'll help on the resonant side, which this is. So the bottom side is the resonant side, which you don't hit, right? The other side is the batter side, which you actually smack with the stick. But the resonant side, true to its name, helps resonate the sound of the drum itself. But I'll figure this out here in a little bit. Take this off. Set her down. Wow, this head is beat. Pretty gross. I'll make it a little rag to wipe it down, which I think I'm gonna step away in a second to do. Once I get the throw off out of the way. Cool. All right, so that's the inside. When was the last time this thing was opened? Some dust bunnies, maybe Piece of rat poo. I'm not sure. Let's see what that is. Oh, it's just dust. Thank God. All right. Oh, trying this out tonight. Moored Dirigible by Hot Butcher, which is out of Bedford Park. The artwork is done by Dan Grzecka. Pretty cool. It's got the old John Hancock with a nice little Zeppelin flying over the top. Artwork's awesome. Tastes good too. So, small shout out to Hot Butcher. All right. Let's see if this works. I doubt it, but let's see. Oh dear God. No way. I'm dreaming. Aren't I dreaming? It's pretty close. So I got my flathead and this little guy here. Unbelievable. What a good guess. On that little socket. Pro tip, always have a little container. Look at that. To hold your screws and nuts. In case I need them. Hopefully this guy over here came with some parts. Looks like it, but always good to keep those tools or those parts around just in case. Just checking this out a little bit. I mean, this thing is old. Seventy or so years? 60? My math is not so hot these days. It's truly fascinating to look at, though. Nice. There we go. The mechanics still work, it's just that the welding just busted. Which makes sense, that's pretty... It'll focus. It's pretty thin. Considering the amount of force that's being put on it. Alright, cool. Get a quick paper towel to kind of wipe it up a little bit. So stand by. Even there, the flakes are coming off. But again, I think that's just the nature of how they applied chrome back in the day. Again, it's not entirely pretty, but just because it ain't pretty doesn't mean it don't sound good. Oh, another tip. If you have your drum head off. Oh, that feels good. Look at that. Ugh, nasty. But it's cool. Pretty grody. Okay. All right, I think we're ready to bust this open and reattach it here. Not reattach because it's new, so we're gonna attach the new one. I really hope it's the right one. This would be all for naught. Not. Let's see if those line up. It's good. Okay, so it looks like we have the same parts. So just want to make sure I get the order correct and how the everything comes together. That's fascinating. Okay. We don't. Assuming lock washer goes on the inside, the washer goes on the out. See if it looks like it makes sense. If not, you can always take it apart, put it back together. That's one thing I love about drums. Somewhat forgiving in that sense. Unless you talk to someone that actually makes the shells and stuff like that, which is definitely not me. Yuli Salazar over at Ludwig is also a great person to follow if you're out there on the social medias. Wonderful guy. Actually used to drum with Mayor for Life. A lot of the parts I played were heavily written and influenced by the band and myself. All right, so Damon Drums. Sorry, Damon Drums is his handle over on Instagram. So check him out if you have some time. So basically, what I did was I took a washer, put it in front, of the bolt there. What I'm going to do is put the lock washer on the other side, and then the little nut that goes with it. Right. So I think that's right. Don't judge me too hard if I get it wrong, but feel free to make a comment. If anybody else has suggestions, I'd be happy to fix my errors. So throw that back in there. I did 2 at the same time, simply because you might do, some people might do 1 at a time, but I like to double it up, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, no, if it's just, for me, it's easier to put those bolts in there at the same time. I'm gonna do what I'm doing right now. Just putting on the lock washer and the nut. So hopefully what's going to happen is the washer that is on this side right here on the outside of the shell is going to help when I actually tighten the nut on the inside. Wish me luck. Sorry about those notification sounds. Let's see if I can do something about that. Oh, I got my buddy Adam. Konnichiwa, my friend. That's what those notifications are. Just pay attention to the comments. I don't have them up. I'm like a dummy. I probably should put those up, huh? I'm getting a little shout out from my friend over, great friend over in Japan. I used to play lots of shows with him. Let's see if I can get this right. I appreciate the shout out. If I can't get this within the next 10 seconds or so, Adam, let me figure this. Appreciate the shout out. If I can't get this within the next 10 seconds or so, Adam. There's a way. This is hilarious. Let's see. So I lied about 10 seconds. Control room. I'm still learning, everybody. Oh. How's this work, buddy? All right. So, now that that's out of the way, I'll try and keep an eye on the chat. Again, still figuring all this out. But just to recap, I'm now just tightening this throw off. Still not sure if this is the right size. Let's see if I can do this right. Oh my gosh. We're doing it. This is great. Except this socket wrench is a piece of crap. Oh, it won't snap back. Okay. Okay. It's probably still warming up from being outside in the garage because it's so cold right now. Adam, it is a P85. Just got a little question from Adam. It's Ludwig P85, kind of classic, bro. Keeping it real with the 66 Supraphonic. Feeling pretty good. One thing I failed to do was get the other side. Where it actually holds in the snare. The wires itself. It looks okay, but like when in Rome, kind of a thing. Probably could have done it for relatively inexpensive. But like a dummy, I didn't do that. Lesson learned. Totally fine. Trying to get in there a little bit more. It's a 20 strand snare, Adam. Awesome question again. But yeah, open to suggestions too, Adam. If you found better results with a different number, throw it in there, buddy. Let's rap about that. I think I'm okay here. Quick double check. Let's see here. Just Adam, it is the asking what type, I believe. It's the Pure Sound custom 14-inch with 20 strands. That's what I'm using on this particular snare. I think I'm going to leave it right there. I think I can get more out of it, but I don't... Feels pretty solid. I lied. I'm going more. Let's see how the bottom one is here. Just make sure this isn't spinning. Oh, we're doing good. Feel pretty good about it. Adam just asked if how deep is it? A 5.5, which I believe it is. It's not 6 for sure, because I mean it's usually 6.5 by 14. I think this is 5.5 for sure. So it's not too thin, it's not too deep. Sounds pretty solid. Getting chrome all over my desk, and I love it. I love it. This is great. Okay. Nice enough of Ludwig to throw in some longer nuts in here, or excuse me, bolts, in case your shell was thicker, or to accommodate for different types of configurations. All right. Into the graveyard. It's a body bag. No, it's not really, but okay. So that feels pretty solid. Let's give a little up close view of what happened there. Inside maybe too. See those two nuts are right in the middle. The shinier of the bunch. Oh, the candle. Good question. So this candle, I believe, Adam, you're going to appreciate this. It is the smell of the spice melange, and you got a nice little worm. I love it. Good friend of mine, Joe, gifted that to me. It smells great. Although I'm not traveling through space and time, and the sleeper has not awoken yet. All right. On to the next. So at this point, gonna throw the resident head back on. Start working with actually adding the snare, the wires. Doing a little wipe off of the dust. This is not best practice. You should have a new head when you do this stuff. But I'm doing the best with what I got. Cool. And while you're at it, or while I'm at it, nice little wipe down of the rim itself, especially on the inside. You can always get the outside later, but try and get the demons that have been resting in the crevices here. Get them out of there. There goes a lug. Alright. And the orientation of this doesn't matter. Some folks like to match the lugs with the original, the bolts with the original lugs that they're in, which I try to do because I mean it just makes sense from a threading standpoint. Especially older drums are like settled and all that stuff. But always just make sure if you're doing this to line the space up where the snare is supposed to go, the wires are supposed to go, with where your throw off is and where the catch is in the back too. Right. It's getting downright crispy back here. All right. Do employ the double spin, finger tight to start. You know, a nice finger tight, and then The guy right there. I love Adam's questions. How often do I do this? The answer is never. Especially with this particular drum. I've never replaced the throw off before, as I mentioned earlier, but it's quite fun. What I did there is just try to make it straight. You want to try and center those lugs in the center of your rim. So many fun questions. I mentioned at the start, or closest to the start of the stream, that the background music. This is for Adam. He's asking questions. Music you're listening to is two of the bands I'm in. This particular song is by Sequoia off our recent release. The Jammer, for sure. And check it out. It's off the record called Fifth. Yeah. Just checking out something here. Yeah, there we go. Cool. But sorry, yeah, this is it's called A Minor Thing. You can find it on Bandcamp, find it on Spotify, YouTube, all that stuff. Although Sequoia does have the most oft used name in the history of music. So you kind of have to be diligent. In how you search for it. SequoiaMusic.com, mayorforlife.bandcamp.com. It's all out there. This particular record was recorded in Chicago at Burn the Furniture Recordings in Pilsen. The amazing, actually the last of the records that you're hearing, two out of the three were recorded and engineered by Matt Engstrom and Soren Peterson out of Burn the Furniture. Shots is the other record that is in the shuffle, which was recorded and engineered by Alan Epley and Eric Abbott. They are in a band called The Life and Times, which is amazing. You should check that out right now or watch this and then check them out, or come back, whatever. Alan's also in a band called Shiner, one of my favorite bands, as you may know. And Eric was in a band called Ring Cicada, which was also amazing. Drummer for that band, for Life and Times, is Chris Metcalf, who was in the Stella Link, also an amazing drummer. Some great stuff to check out. All right, now I shake it to see if I forgot anything inside. And now I'm gonna have to take a quick sidebar to look for hopefully a couple of matching lugs, because there's a couple missing here. So stand by, be right back. Right. I believe. Okay. Let's see. I just want to make sure that. Okay. Do have nuts on them. Excuse me, washers. Let's see this. Hope they fit. Oh, nice. Beautiful. I had to read that question a couple seconds over. Man, awesome question. Adam's question is, am I fixing the snare that we're hearing on these recordings? No. I have never used this outside of like in my basement and just practicing hitting it, and then of course letting George use it. So it's a great idea though. I like it. All right, so I don't know if you can, people that might be watching this later, you can hear it. See those waves, right? Maybe if I shift, you kind of see those waves on the head. So even though I fingered, you know, tightened everything by finger, I had to watch my words there. I try and make it to where everything is a bit flat, right? And tuning, I'm not going to get into tuning right now, but usually want to go do one, do the other, do one, do the other, do one, do the other. It's good practice to do that, at least it's worked for me. But just for the sake of getting a flat surface. And this again is an old head. So usually when you have a new head, you press down like really hard to like really stretch it out. So what I'm doing is just going around now, relatively flat. You can see now it's pretty flat. You see some wrinkles up there, so that's where I'm heading next. You can kind of, the more you do this, you kind of feel the tension go from finger tight to then key tight. And the more you do this again, you'll kind of understand, like, even if you don't see the wrinkles and you start to do the tapping for tuning, again, this is not a tuning tutorial, you kind of start to get a literal feel for it. I do opposites. I'm not doing it right now. Adam had a question, do I do opposites? I do. I try to explain that, but just to get everything level, I start there and then I do opposites after that. And then, you know, kind of like the here to here, then here to here, then here to here, and here to here. It's kind of like a spirograph, but not really. If you know what those are. And how old? Yes, it is. It's 66. I mentioned it earlier, but check it out. Yes, the serial number is like 311. What is it? 311. I can do this. 311975. Here, just a quick look at what that looks like. That's the badge, the Keystone badge, Adam, once again. And yeah, drink it in. Cool. So now we're going to get into this guy. Go back both ways. So again, it's a pure sound custom 14-inch with 20 strands. When you open these, they should have either the string or the plastic, what I call tape. I don't know the technical term for it, but it's just two flat pieces of plastic that actually go through the center part of the snare wires versus the holes, which is where the cords are meant for. Okay, so what I usually do here is I start at this side to get it secured into the catch. Again, I'm not sure if that's a technical name. Adam, correct me if I'm wrong. I know you're around, so. But always put the flat side down, right? So it meshes nice with your resonant head. I'm going to flip this around. Similar but different to the other side is that you have these adjustment screws that you'll be able to then throw those particular strings or the tape through the snare wires and then hold it in place on the snare shell itself. So, question from Adam, do I prefer string, flat plastic, or flat cloth? Man, I've never used flat cloth, but I honestly prefer the flat plastic. For whatever reason, I just feel like it's quicker to adjust on the fly. That's just my preference. Yeah. All right. Get a shocked face from Adam saying that I don't know what he's shocked about it, that I've never used flat cloth or that I prefer whatever the case may be. All right. If I do this, oops, actually, yeah, no, that's right. For me at least, see that I put the string through the holes facing down, so that I can tug on it and pull it tight. Be careful when you're doing this too, to not squish the wires, because that is gross and bad. And then you just feed, see here, just feed those little things through that hole. And you notice that I was unscrewing this, so there's a little plate back here. You can hopefully see me jiggling that a bit. If we do this a little bit. Kind of see, there it is. You can kind of see that little piece, and you're wanting to squeeze that against those, well, against that little pressure plate. What I typically do then after this, just feeding this through, it can be very similar to putting a needle through a thread through a needle. Use any tools necessary to make it easy on yourself. Apparently I'm not doing that. Alright, so after that, I try and line the snare wires. Probably, you want to make it even. So if you look up here, and you can see the ring of the snare head itself, or the resonant head, it's probably about maybe an eighth of an inch away from the rim of the actual resonant head. So once I do that, pull those fairly tight, and I give myself a little room. It's going to take some time to bring this back into form, and I'm really worried because this screw head is 60 from 66. And this has been done multiple times. I just hopefully doesn't shard on me. Adam's surprised that I like the plastic because he hasn't had much success with it. Yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason. Although before going live tonight, I did like kind of see or view a tutorial on how to tie these up. It seems like it would be more secure than what you would have with plastic. Makes sense. Makes complete sense, especially from physics, because like the plastic has nothing to grab onto. Now, I think I might be doing this incorrect on this side, but I'll correct it later, where I might tie a knot over here, but I'm going to do that on the other side to hopefully just save time, because I got to get to bed soon, honestly. But yeah, I tighten that down, centered pretty well, right? Hopefully you can see that. Bring it up a little closer. It's pretty tight. It's pretty good. Cool. Flip it around. And start working with this side. So you can see this is where before you actually do anything, I try and bring this down as far as it can go. So what this knob adjusts is the tension at any given moment within for your snare wires. So to give me enough headroom to tighten it, try and tighten that all the way down. So when this is off, and when I turn it on, then I can actually tighten it even more to get a nice like crack. Or if I want to loosen it, then I can get a nice like, not gurgly, but just like loose wire kind of sound. Really sounds really good with brushes, softer sticks. Wood drums can sound really good, at least in my opinion, with a loose snare. Metal or alloy drums, I usually like a tight snare. Sometimes I like it loose though too. So making sure these are even. I didn't do that on the other side. Whoops. Not a bad thing, but best practice to kind of do that. So see, now it's starting to form a bit on that snare side. And honestly, now I'm looking at this snare. Also helps if you have a piece of tape. I might grab in a second to keep the throw off to then really like ratchet down if you want to. So, all right, getting there, getting close. So I'm gonna undo these a little bit. Be careful with this because the screws are really short. You don't need much. Slip that right in there. There's that little, you undo this little plate. Right? See how that's loose? This part of the cord went through that side. Do the same on the other. Okay. Now from this, I'm going to try and do a knot because I think that's a smart move. I do need a piece of tape, so let's see how Scotch tape works. You'd think I'd have duct tape really handy, but I don't. I need a bigger piece than that, Dan. The type of knot I'm going to be using is a square knot. The old right over left, left over right. Sheep shank. You probably use a sheep shank, Adam. But more of a sliding knot, right? But when a sheep shank is locked in, man, it's great. So right over left. And then left over right. So you have that little square. I don't know if that's easy to see. Perhaps it is. I'll try and bring it up. There you go. Let's kind of scooch it on up there. Scooch, scooch, scooch. Even do that. Do that. Now, I do that again. I did it backwards. I think I did. Do that. Cool. Great thing about live stuff. Good news. This is an easy fix. There you can see I just went a little too far, but it screws right back in. So again, right over left, left over right. Try that one more time. All right, that's better. Sorry about that. But as I'm doing this, let's tighten it down. I got plenty of room. Loose, it's tight. Cool. More adjustments there. Here's the shiny new throw off on a chrome losing 66 Supraphonic. But yeah, I'll probably fix these. This is a little gnarly. Can certainly do that not on this side too. With some slight adjustments, but I think that's great. Can't hear it with it off. Can hear it with it on. Fantastic. All right. So, hey, that was fun. Thanks for sticking around. And yeah, that was really fun. Something different. Adam, thanks for stopping in, buddy. That was really fun. I thought you were gonna give me more tips, quite frankly. But yeah. Who knows what I'll do next? Maybe I'll actually bring Adam into the fold and do color commentary. What do you think about that, buddy? It'll be fun. But you don't have to work. He says he's at work. He just doesn't have to. You take a break. Stop in for 5 minutes. Go get some coffee or water. Whatever you need to do. But cool. Anyway, I'm gonna call it an evening. This was really fun learning experience for me. Hopefully this works out for George, and I will hopefully see you maybe in a week or so. Who knows? Hopefully sooner than later. So have a great day, evening, afternoon, wherever you're at. I'll touch you later.